I wanted to talk with you today about the annotated bibliography, kind of explain the philosophy behind it and what it really is. I created the annotated bibliography as part of an integrated assignment that combines your topic, the annotated bibliography, and your final paper. In essence, the annotated bibliography is nothing more really than a list of the articles that you found about your topic that you're going to use for your final paper. Remember that those articles need to come from the online database. They can't be a web source. They can't be from a book. They can only be from the online database from Columbia College, from the campus, unless you have explicit permission from me to do so. On rare occasions, I will allow students to use some other source, but that is certainly the exception to the rule. I've maybe done that out of hundreds of times, out of hundreds of students, I've maybe done that once or twice. But essentially, the annotated bibliography does one thing. It forces you to sit down and to read the articles that you pick. I'm amazed at how many students try to write a paper without reading and without understanding the articles that they use. As a matter of fact, I'm teaching an intro class right now as I'm making this video, and I was actually pleased when two students came to me and wanted to change their subject on another assignment because they could not understand the article that they had initially picked. And I said that's a good thing, because I didn't want them writing a paper on an article they couldn't understand. And I don't want you writing a paper based on articles that you can't understand. You've been asked to pick 5 articles, and you really need to understand those articles. Maybe not some of the arcane statistics, but certainly generally what the article is about, and the conclusions and things like that, the important things. I even have trouble with my own kids. I have 2 younger girls at home, and I have 4 kids altogether, and two of them are still at home. And they will try to write assignments without reading the paper, and I struggle with that with them. Just last week, I had the youngest one was trying to write a paper, and had not sat down and read the article. So basically, for each article that you have, you're to fill out a form, and you're to turn that form in one document. So all you really need to do is copy and paste. Make sure you have 5 blank copies in there. Just type in, it's a Microsoft Word document, and then type in the information. And do it thoroughly. Now the first one that you're going to have to put in is a reference. The reference really needs to be accurate. And it needs to be the same way that you're going to use it in APA format on the references page in your final paper. Now there is sometimes some people have trouble with the hanging indent. In other words, in an APA reference, the second line should be indented about 5 spaces over to the right from the first line, and they can't get that to happen and that has a way to do with how Microsoft Office handles forums and handles tables. But don't worry about that. But in your final paper, you need to worry about it. Before the annotated bibliography, just make sure that everything else is correct, and except with the one possibility maybe of the hanging indent, and get that correct. Then that way, that's already done. So when you're writing your final paper, you don't have to be running around worrying about how to reference this article. You've already done it. Now, while I'm on that topic, one of the things to remember too is that a lot of times your database will give you the APA reference. And if you haven't figured that out, you really need to kind of get in there in the database and figure out how to do that. Also, there's some online services that will put your reference in APA format for you. Now, the rest of it is pretty straightforward. But the one that there's a couple things that seem to give students problems, and one is implications for practice. Basically, what I want there is what sometimes is called the so what factor. So all right, here's this research. So what? So what are the practical implications of this research project, of the findings, in a general sense. Well, what is it? Kind of what is the so what factor? The other thing is strengths and weaknesses. What I'm looking for is your take on the strengths and weaknesses of some of the articles, or on the articles. And sometimes students either misunderstand that or don't fill it out. But remember, in strengths and weaknesses, I'm looking for the strengths of the article from your perspective, from your critical perspective, and the weakness of the article from your critical perspective. I've been teaching this class for a long time, and I've been using the annotated bibliography for a long time. I think it cuts down on cheating. I think it cuts down on students waiting to the last minute to do some very crucial things. And I think it helps students to go into the final paper with a better understanding.